Welcome back to the War Lad Podcast. I'm James Marshall. Roll the intro.
What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad. What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad.
Oh, what a lad and what a jingle. And speaking of lads, today I have one of the most requested lads out there on the show. He's been a legend of New Zealand rugby, playing for the Wellington Lions, the Hurricanes, and of course the mighty All Blacks. He then moved over to Gloucester in England, where he dominated over there, and now he's back in Super Rugby, playing and carving up for the mighty Force. Along with all that rugby stuff, throughout his career, he has been an absolute lad, one of the best lads in the game. It is Jeremy Thrush. Welcome, Thrushy.
Cheers, Jimmy. It was a great intro.
Thanks, mate. Oi, firstly, how good is that mo? I knew it was going to be good, but not that good. That's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, it kind of took growth last year a little bit when we were in isolation. I grew a beard. The wife was pretty sick of it, to be fair, and kept asking when I was going to shave. There's a fair few silvers growing through it. So I came out with this, and she wasn't too happy about it. So it's been there ever since, really. So it's been pretty good. She's still with me, so I must be doing something right.
What's the plans with it? Any plans?
Not really. Just keep growing it. There's a few silvers coming into it, which is a little bit disappointing. But no, it's just, I don't know. It's just quite enjoy having it. I get a fair few good comments from guys saying, it's a good mo. But the wife and most girls or women I talk to just brush it off pretty quickly. So it's probably a good thing.
Oh, it's obviously built you some sort of cult following over in Perth, because, man, I've had so many messages from people over in Perth wanting to get you on, wanting to know a little bit more about you, because people are just loving you over there.
That's good. Is that a stitch up?
No, this is genuine.
The force field, your fans. Oh, really? Oh. I don't know. I don't know what I've been doing. I haven't been doing too much, to be fair, but
and the season for the Force hasn't gone completely to plan so far, but it's not over yet.
No. We're better than last year so far. We've got one win under the belt, so hopefully we can improve on that. We've got 3 more games: Tars, Reds, Rebels. So hopefully we can notch up a few more wins on the way. And you just have to finish third, really, in this competition in AU, and then you get a crack at playing a semi-final and then on to a final, whoever finishes first. So,
true.
What is it? Is it semi-pro where they third place? So I guess that's where we're aiming at this stage, is sneak into third and go from there.
Nice. And you got big Tony Lewis on your side now, so surely things are going to start happening for you.
Well, that's what it sounds like. That's what everyone's been telling me, that he did good things with the Marcos down there. So hopefully he can help sort ourselves out over here and get us going in the right direction.
And looking to re-sign you, of course.
Oh, definitely. Of course. Hold on to the old battler for another year. Hopefully, would be good.
How is the body feeling? Because you're looking about 25 out there. You're running around like a spring chicken. Are you feeling young?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Obviously, few niggles. I've had ankle and shoulder cleanups in the off season, but it's been going all right. I think the weather helps. It's a lot warmer and nicer, and you see the sun a lot more than you did in Gloucester in the UK. So you get down to the water and the beach a fair bit, which helps a lot. So it's good. Yeah.
No doubt. Well, anyway, we've got heaps to get through, and also you had about 300 questions coming for you too. So we'll crack on, and we'll go back to the start with you. So take us back to what life was like for you growing up. I understand you were born in Auckland, which I didn't actually know, but tell me a little bit about what your life was like.
So born in Auckland, lived out in Papakura until I was about 5. And then had a bit of a different upbringing from most Kiwi lads. We moved to Canada for 5 years. So lived over there and just out of Toronto, and we lived there for 5 years. Played a bit of soccer, played some ice hockey, and Dad was affiliated with a club over there, so he sort of set up with another expat, like a kids touch on a Saturday morning. So I played a little bit of touch footy over there. It was pretty good. was pretty good at. Wasn't very good at the ice hockey. Couldn't stop. It was not. It was supposed to be non-contact, but I couldn't stop. So I either hurt myself falling into the side of the boards or just falling over everyone else. So I remember pretty early on playing. You know, like when you first start playing rugby, they're like, someone asks when you're young, they're like, "Oh, you quit," and they're like, "Yeah, we'll just chuck them on the wing."
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to learn too much. So I ended up goalkeeper quite quickly because I didn't really have to move too far. So I played a fair bit of goalkeeper. I remember them asking if I wanted to be the goalie for a while. So now that I look back on it, I was like, obviously because I was pretty crap and couldn't stop or anything. So that's where they put me.
Why couldn't you stop?
It's just quite hard, you know, like you're going to have to like put your skates to one side a little bit and be like sharp. And
Oh, true.
I don't think I had the balls to actually do it. I just kind of just stumbled my way into someone else or the side of the boards quite quickly to be able to do it. Really, it took me forever to learn how to do it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was good fun. And then it must have been almost 11. We moved home to New Zealand and to Wellington, and yeah, it's where I grew up until I left to move to Gloucester. So went through all my school, or most of my schooling back home, and then went and joined the academy and stuff like that, and kind of took off after that.
So is that when you got into rugby, basically when you moved back to New Zealand? Is that where it started for you?
Yeah, there was touch in Canada, and I was like the youngest who played, and Dad used to get pissed off because I'd just go down the back and like pick the flowers and play around out the back and piss around, and so I didn't do too much there and didn't play too much, but came back to New Zealand and made me play. I was too big to play for the under 12s for the Eastbourne team, so went to Huddle Boys Marist and joined that club. So it was pretty cool actually, because everyone that I played for that year when I went to Hutt High, my school, Hutt Valley High School, all those guys that had gone through that team I played for there were playing out high, so a few familiar faces when we went to high school, so it was pretty good. So played rugby all the way through high school, and then it didn't really think too much of it. I wasn't really a big kid or anything, but then I guess last year school things sort of kind of took off a little bit more and got picked for a few teams, and then it kind of moved on from there.
Is that when you had your growth spurt? Because you're obviously a massive unit now. So when did you grow?
I was always quite tall, but like real skinny and lanky. Had nothing of me. And then, probably in a sixth form going into seventh form, I got a little bit bigger and wouldn't say filled out. It took me forever to fill out a bit more. But seventh form kind of made Wellington secondary schools. And then someone said that I was in a chance to play for the Hurricane schools. And then from there, was pretty surprised, got picked for New Zealand schools. So obviously was doing something right, or there was no one else around at the time they could really pick from. So, but I never really got big till probably my second, third year in the Wellington Academy. I was on a pretty big eating regime all through that to put on some weight, because I battled to get over 100 kgs for a long time. Yeah.
Was it always your goal to play rugby? It sounds like your dad was a pretty big influence on your rugby career too, trying to push you towards rugby. Was it always your goal to sort of make it a profession?
Nah. When I was, I guess I just had good friends that we used to play after school, play touch all the time. And then I got to play with them all the way through school, which was awesome. Our last year at Hutt Valley High School, we were in a very strong rugby school, to be fair. And then our last year at school, there was a group of us that had gone through school all together, and we had made the top division of the first 15 competition, and we lost in a semi-final to Wellington College by only three odd points, I think. And that was pretty cool. I still have good memories of all that, but it was never really until probably seventh form when I got asked to join the academy. I kind of just thought, well, I'll give this a good crack and see what happens. I probably would have left school if it wasn't for rugby. I was just kind of sick of it, wasn't really enjoying it. Probably would have had a trade or something, done a trade, but Mum didn't let me leave, so I had to stay in there and well, pretty lucky I did because I had some pretty good times through school. So
Yeah,
I'm glad Mum didn't let me leave school.
And what a career you've ended up having. Jeez, what a great call from
Yeah.
So you must have been pretty impressive in your once you got selected for that New Zealand schools team, because then you obviously went on to make New Zealand under-19s as well and had a pretty good World Cup over there by all accounts.
Yeah. I guess things sort of just took off. Played schools and then came back, and then most of those, how it is, most of those guys that played the schools get a call into that. What was under 19s back then, camp, and trialled pretty well through that, and was lucky enough to get picked and go. We went to Durban for the World Cup, and it was first experience, kind of, obviously being to South Africa, but experiencing sort of rugby in another rugby mad country, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty unreal time, and we were fortunate enough to win it. And we had some great players, some really good players in that team. Kieran Reid was there, and he was unreal. I don't think he missed a tackle through the whole competition. I think he played every game on every minute, and he was just we just had some really good players that just it was awesome to be a part of.
You had some good players, but there was only one under-19 player of the year, Jeremy Thrush. How was it winning that award?
It was a bit of a surprise. I think it was. I scored a try in the last 3 games, so I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it. And, obviously got a couple of lucky offloads. I didn't really do much for them, to be fair. It was more everyone else do it, and I just backed myself with just being really fit. And, like I used to run a lot and stay pretty conditioned, and just my support players, I guess, a big part of my game going through the ranks, and just got a few offloads off a few boys and finished them off. So
humble.
Lucky enough to get that, but it was a hell of a trip. We got flown all the way to London for the awards. The South African men's team were team of the year that year, and we had a hell of a shindig afterwards with them. I remember ending up in, I don't know whose room it was, but they were just bringing trays of Heinekens in. I remember Schultzberger, Bucky Spolter, Victor Matfield were all just tackling each other in the room. I was like, gee, this is unreal. It was a hell of a time. One of the other boys, number 8, Mikaeli too, was up for the same award. So we had a fairly big night with all them. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was awesome.
Did you tackle any of them in the room?
No, I honestly was at one stage. I remember standing back and thinking Jesus, what the hell am I doing here? What's going on? This is nuts. One of those moments where you're like, holy shit. But then, just kept getting stuck in. And I just remember, hotel staff bringing trays of Heineken beers and, trays and trays. It was a good time.
Oh, that's classic. And when you won that award, did you feel some sort of, did you feel like there's an expectation on you to sort of kick on from there? Because, I mean, there's some pretty massive names who have won those awards throughout the years. Once you won that, did you feel like things were going to start happening pretty quick, or how did you feel once you'd won it?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really, I guess, thought that too much. I kind of just was just I obviously had goals again. I was like, okay, well, let's try to make the under 21s and kick on with Wellington a little bit. Got 2 years with New Zealand under 21s, which was pretty grateful for that, and pretty lucky, I think, to get in that first year. Then came back and got asked to join the Lions. In the end of 2004, I got asked to join the Lions just as an apprentice training, go in and hold a tackle bag, but it was a hell of an experience to go do that. And then I didn't have real big thinking, okay, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I just kind of cruised through, I think, with my mindset a little bit. Just kept trying to one higher, I guess. Yeah.
How was it going into that Wellington Lions setup? Obviously, you're a pretty young guy, and it seemed like a pretty intimidating team to be going into at a young age.
I was. That 2004, 2005 year. Pretty nervous. I remember the first gym session I did, Ricky Flutie took me around and did it, and he was a hell of a character. But the whole time, I think it was just his personality and the way he goes about things. But I was like, I'm not sure if this guy's try and take the piss out of me or not, but just the way he was going about, like the gym and everything, and like, it was, I was just like, like, okay, like this is what we're doing here. Okay, all right, this is how it goes, sort of thing. But like once I got to know him, I was like, oh no, that's just what he's like. But he was, but it was good. Back then you had the All Blacks came back to play, so you had a lot of experience. There's a lot of big name ABs, like big name Super Rugby players. So there was a lot of people to look at and watch and pick up on things, but. It was a great group. There was a lot of guys that kind of like took a few of us younger boys under their wing a little bit and just helped us out. The likes of Luke Andrews, like Ben Herrings, Joe McDonnell's, like all those kind of guys were just great with the young boys. Us coming through, and definitely owe a lot to those boys and how they looked after like a 20, 21-year-old coming through. And into that environment, it was great.
Yeah, and you played 87 games for Wellington Lions, big numbers. Any standout games or memories that stand out to you throughout the Wellington Lions career?
On the field, Ramsey Shield, winning the Ramsey Shield up in Auckland in 2008. It had been, I think, 24 years since Wellington had done it. So that was a hell of a experience and a hell of a weekend and week, especially up in Auckland, beating Auckland up there to get it was pretty cool. And then a hell of a lot of good end of year dues on a Sunday sessions. I was fortunate enough, so it was like 3 or 4 years that we had made the final and we just couldn't get over the line. But I just thought that's what it was about. You play for Wellington, you're there or thereabouts, and you're winning. You're close to winning things, and you're going to go on and win things. So like those first 4 or 5 years, it was just pretty unreal. Just like being in finals or playing and winning Ranford Shields and stuff like that was pretty cool.
And you obviously had some pretty good times off the field too up there. Got a lot of questions about the old Stark Mansion. Want to talk to me about that one?
Oh yeah, that was Hawani. Who else is staying there? There's a few boys that had this place. I guess it was in between Island Bay and Lyle Bay around there, and it was up on the hill. And it looked like a Stark Mansion from Iron Man.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty unreal. We had a fair few good shindigs. I'm pretty sure we even had a courtie there. That was pretty good, but yeah, we had some good nights. You get up on the roof as well. It was like just a straight flat roof. So boys brought the drone out, and we had some pretty good nights there in the last year before we moved on. It was pretty good. Yeah,
no doubt. And then let's talk to me about your Hurricanes career as well. How was it? When did that sort of happen? When did you make your first Hurricanes squad?
2007. I was Y training group, and I think we had a fairly big group that year because that was when they did the World Cup. They did that. Like they wouldn't let each of the AB's boys play at the start of the year.
Yeah.
So it was we had like a big squad and then a pretty big wider training group as well. And then 2008 was my first year. Yeah, I had a pretty good year in 2008, but I'll probably say the credit came in. Like I did a whole preseason with the Hurricanes into playing club rugby in Wellington, but like training with the Canes and then going into an ITM. So I was pretty fit and got myself in pretty good nap to kick on for that next year and get a chance to play for the Hurricanes and get picked. So, which I think like that 12-month training base definitely made a difference going into that 2008 year and playing for the Canes.
And then when you got your crack, you obviously made an instant impact, a massive shift from you early on your debut off the bench.
Yeah. I remember my first game we played Waratahs. It was when CJ got knocked out. Remember, he went to charge down
the Falcon.
He got knocked out with the ball. Yeah, the Falcon.
One of the great Falcons, that one.
He's never recovered since, I don't reckon, from it. And we didn't play that well last game, and then we hit the bench for a bit. We had some, we had Jason Eden, we had some pretty good locks back then playing for the Canes, and then got another chance in Victoria to start against the Bulls, and it doesn't happen very often, but I think we put almost 50 on them that game. And then just things kind of kicked on from there. I just got a chance to start every game from then on, and we lost to the Crusaders in the semi-final down there, unfortunately, and then they went on to win it. So yeah, but it was even you look back now, I remember the Waratahs game, I remember playing the Bulls game. That's about it, really. I think there was a game on TV the other day. It was the Crusaders Hurricanes semi-final. I started watching it and I was like, "Cheap!" It's like you'd think you played an all right game, and you look back and you watch it and you think, "Oh yeah, well, I was up to nothing." And then somehow that's how I made a career of running around doing not too much. Somehow I got through. Still going.
Still going. 15 years later. Whoa. How good.
Yeah. Jesus.
But how is your memory? Did you have many head knocks throughout your career? You seem to have a pretty good memory.
Yeah, had a couple of little ones, like not fully knocked out. The worst one I had where I got knocked out was we had a test match in Joburg against South Africa, and tried to tackle Dwayne Van Meulen and got the side of his hip, and yeah, I got out to it, and that's the only one I've really, knock wood, that I've actually really had that's put me out and I've blacked out. So I've actually been pretty lucky that way. It shows that I don't really put my head in too many dark places, I guess. Just stand around and watch a few rucks and hold on to a few people's legs.
No, you use your hard parts very well. You obviously played 110 games for the Hurricanes. Huge achievement. Most capped lock in history for the Hurricanes. The legendary lock. Any standout moments? One that stands out for me was your try against the Cheetahs. One of the greatest tries you'll ever see. Talk me through that one.
Yeah. What year was that, Joey?
I'm going to say 11 because I wasn't in the squad then. I remember getting up and watching it. Jeremy Thrush and my fantasy rugby team. Come on, Jeremy, run some meters. Here he goes.
Yeah, I remember every game we ever played against the Cheetahs was real high score. Both teams just didn't want to defend.
Yeah.
But all I remember is getting the ball down the sideline and had Colsey on the inside, and there was one of the Cheetahs, either backs or loose forwards, was kind of just hanging out, and I just kept looking like I was going to pass to Colsey, and got about, I must have got it, I don't know, maybe 30 odd meters out, maybe, I don't know, and then got just inside the 22 and realised, shit, I think I can do this myself. I don't have to give it inside, and put it down. I was exhausted. It was like 80 odd. I think it was the last play of the game. I think, and like lay down, and the boys jumped on top of me, and then like got up and gave it the old hot dog and was kissing the Hurricanes swirl and all that, and giving it everything. But yeah, I didn't get too many tries, but that one was pretty good. Pretty good to remember. So and we got the win from it. And we were in a pretty tough place, yeah. Yeah. That was good. The one thing I do remember is Tyson Keats walking around the change rooms after the game, just walking around singing, "We are back, we are back," like from The Hangover. He just kept... we had a hell of a good night, I think, after that one as well. We needed it. So.
Oh, I bet. Any other memories that stand out throughout your career at the Hurricanes?
Yeah, we had some pretty good years, making some semi-finals early on in the career. Obviously, a few tough years there, but 2012 was a pretty good year for us. Last year, 2015, I know we didn't win it, but it was a hell of a year. I felt pretty proud of where we got to through the tough times we had leading up to that. I think from where we were and where we wanted to get to, when things kind of didn't go that well, and I guess people call it a rebuild, but we were trying to change the way the Hurricanes were perceived to get to where we were in 2015, and then see the boys kick on in 2016 was pretty good. And I'm pretty proud of like the development that came through that team, and how much more professional, I guess, and how much, I guess, more respect we had from other teams getting to that point. And I think still where they are now, seeing them, obviously they've had a bit of a rough start at the moment, but some good players in that team, and a quality group moving forward. So pretty proud of where we got to, and the development of players within that group. It's probably a big thing without obviously winning any silverware myself.
Yeah, so talk to me about the 2015 final. It's obviously been a massive moment in a lot of guys' career who I've had on the podcast. both Highlanders and Hurricanes. So talk to me about your thoughts leading into that one and after it. How did you feel?
Leading into it, like, I just remembered John Plumtree, like, when we first started, we never talked about really winning it, but he always used to put the picture up of the stadium full. Remember, he's like, before every meeting and everything, he always used to put like the stadium, and that was like a big thing. It was like, we're going to bring the crowds back, we're going to bring people into the stadium, and like, obviously byproduct of that is winning games, and we did that, and I think it was awesome. Like, we didn't put like maybe we should have put an outcome goal on it, but like, it was like a process of
it's Plum's fault for showing
bloody Plum. But no, I just thought that was really cool. And like, I thought, like, without even thinking about it, I was like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And, we won games and got there. And I remember getting the final, and obviously I was we're all pretty nervous, I think. But like, I don't remember a lot of it. I just remember like in it being like, and just before halftime thinking like, fucking hell, this game is all over the place. Like, it just felt hectic like the whole time. Like, and it was so quick. Like, and it was just like, at one stage, like, we'd have the ball and would be like on their 22 or inside their half, inside their 22, like, and the next minute they'll be like counter-attacking and being like, and we'll be back on our own 20. I just remember like being like, what is going on? Like, this is all over the show. Like, this is unreal. And then, I haven't even watched it properly. I don't know. I just feel like a few things didn't go away. We had that pivotal moment, I think, in the second half when we went for a maul, and they stood off and came around and like almost took the wind of our sails. I remember that little bit of it. And then, it was just one of those games I felt it could have gone any way. Like, I didn't feel any time that we had a lot of dominance or they had a lot of dominance. It was just, I guess they kind of capitalised on a few moments they had at the right time and got some points. And, they just got over the line. Yeah, it was. I still, what I do remember of it is like, any time I played for Wellington in a final or a semi-final with the Hurricanes, my mum and dad would come and we never won. So I remember that week thinking to myself, like, they lived up north. I remember thinking, like, just, they're not going to come. Like, I'm just going to tell them they can't come. Let's stay at home. Like having this hoodoo thinking, like, they stay at home, they watch on TV, like, they'll be happy if we win. Like, this is all good. Yeah. And then it was either the Thursday or the Friday, like, find out that, like, my sister's coming down, like, with her husband, and mum and dad are coming down. I just remember being like, no, like, you guys can't come. Like, and I explained it to them, like, no, don't be silly. Like, don't be silly.
Watch it from the pub.
Yeah. After the game, like, I was like, obviously real gutted, and in my head, I was like, I fucking knew they shouldn't have come. Like, I knew they shouldn't have come down. Obviously, that wasn't the reason we lost the game, but
who knows?
Just like, and then, obviously pretty gutted, but it was pretty tough. But yeah, being able to see you boys do it the year after was unreal. Watched it with your brother in England, in Cheltenham and Gloucester, so that was a pretty proud moment to see you guys do it. Yeah.
So you'd already signed for Gloucester at this time. So what sort of brought that move about?
Yeah, signed. I went over to go on the India tour with the ABs in 2014, and then my agent, while I was over there, was like, look, there's a club that's keen to have a chat. It's no harm in just having a sit down with them and seeing what they're about, and just, you can have a chat. And I was like, I'm coming humming and hawing about it. And I thought, yeah, why not? We're over here. Might as well go check it out and have a chat to them and see what they're all about. And it was obviously Gloucester. And I don't know, I just was talking to them and really enjoyed what the director of rugby was trying to do. It kind of seemed a little bit like where we kind of were in 2011-12 with the Hurricanes. They're trying to, take the team. It was a very proud club. They'd won a lot in the past, but they're sort of in a tricky situation and trying to move forward and start winning things again and become a pretty successful team. So kind of enjoyed where they're taking things. So went home, and obviously my wife now, girlfriend at the time, Thrushy, had a good think about it. And obviously had a verbal agreement with them over New Year's in 2014, and then had to call. Well, I just thought it was a good thing to do. I called Bordy and Steve to tell them what was happening. So that was a pretty nerve-wracking morning, having to ring those two guys to tell them that. I've obviously made a decision that I was going to leave after 2015. So I get pretty anxious kind of guy. I get a little bit nervous. So I was you just run things through your head.
Yeah.
So I was just running all these scenarios of different things, trying to tell them how it was going to go about. So, to be fair, the harder one was Boydie in the end. I was nervous to ring Steve. He was pretty good about it, obviously, and then talking to Boydie, yeah, that was a bit of a tough one in the end. I thought that would have been the easier one, obviously, because I have a pretty good relationship with him, and you know, like I guess he might have thought that I might be coming to the end in New Zealand, but it's quite tough. I don't think he saw it coming a little bit, and yeah, had some pretty sweaty palms and pits making those 2 phone calls. To tell you that.
Have you always had a bit of anxiety throughout your career, and does that sort of involve your game prep as well, or is that just little things like phone calls and hangover anxiety?
Oh yeah, big hangover fear. I'll tell you that, anxiety. But to do with the rugby, yeah, I didn't even realise, to be fair, I had it. I remember the first year playing for the Canes, like sometimes I'd wake up pretty early in the morning of the game day. We used to stay in hotels in New Zealand back then, and sometimes I'd just wake up pretty early, like 4 or 5 in the morning, and take a piss and then sit on the edge of the bed thinking, holy shit, like we're at a game today. Like kind of, and I don't know, maybe I was just young and didn't really think too much of it, and I just kind of went pretty well for the first couple of years, so it didn't really cause me too much trouble. And then I don't know, I guess there came a time where I just realised that it was actually affecting my performance a little bit. And, you know, you play with me a fair bit, Jimmy. I realised if I can get confidence from my week, and I used to take my week pretty seriously back home, that if I can get like my week sorted, that would give me the confidence to go into the game. And I could always, like, if I started to get a little bit doubt or the nerves kicked in a bit too much, I'll be, well, no, you've done the work during the week, mate. Like,
yeah,
you're going to be all right. Like, it's going to be okay. So, I guess, I put a real big focus on making sure I got my weeks right and had done the preparation, and there wasn't too many chances for me to get a lot of what ifs or anything in my head, which it's helped a bit, I guess. Yeah.
That's good advice. And do you have any advice on how you handle your hangover anxiety? That's a big one for a lot of listeners. Is it true that you brought a puppy hungover once with anxiety?
Yeah. Most expensive mistake of my life, I think, was here in Perth with us. Yeah. We had a big night in Cheltenham, Gloucester, me and the missus, and she kept wanting a, what do they call them, Cavapoos, Cavoodle, a poodle, King Charles Cavalier, and we're both battling, but she doesn't really get the fare, but I still do get the fare on a hangover, and we ended up going to Worcester, which is not very far away, but we got this bloody little puppy, and then 4 months later, I got told I'm not needed at Gloucester anymore, and had to bloody ship him over to Perth with me, so it cost more than our bloody furniture to get here, so yeah, it was a really good decision. Or I get real quiet and then out of nowhere just start asking heaps of questions about what happened the night before, and then yeah, so it's a
you haven't nailed that one
big,
yet.
Problem I have. No. Not drinking helps, but that's no fun, so I can't do that.
Oh, classic.
I'll tell you that one of the worst fears was the one after Tojo's bloody stag do in Barcelona. I don't think I recovered until it was about a month after we got to Perth. I felt better after that one. That was a hell of a weekend.
I don't think your anxiety would have been as bad as Matt Scott's.
Oh, we're all up there. I'll tell you what, we're all up there.
And my Airbnb review, Jesus, that gave me anxiety for a few weeks.
How jeepers.
I had to delete my account anyway.
I'm glad we left so early in the morning.
Kieran Fonatia. Oh, don't ever drink with Kieran Fonatia. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, geez. Well, anyway, let's go back to your rugby. And there's a massive part of your career that we haven't even touched on yet is your All Black career. Something which I sort of thought would happen a little bit earlier than it did. Did you ever feel like in those selections leading up to before you were selected that you felt like you were going to be selected?
Well, so 2008, first year Canes, and then played pretty well with the Lions, and there was obviously the media start talking about it a little bit, and there was people were saying, oh, you might go on the India tour, and I kind of fell off a little bit in the last 3 or 4 weeks of that season with the Lions. Didn't play that well and kind of started to get a bit fatigued a little bit, I think. First proper full professional season, and obviously thought like, oh, maybe I might be with a chance. I might take a couple of young guys, but missed out on that. And then not really. I was always hopeful, but I never really strung a lot of back-to-back performances in that were worthy of being selected. I'd play a good game, and then have a couple of all right quiet games, and then maybe a pretty crappy game, and then come back and play good in the years leading up. And I don't know if that was part of figuring out that I used to get, a little bit too nervous or worked up and get in my own head a little bit too much. And then I must have been off contract in maybe 2012. And I remember sitting down with my agent and was just thinking, I still feel like I can have a crack here. I was a bit older. I was coming in 26, 27. And just, there was obviously people were keen to have me overseas. A couple of clubs were interested, and I just thought if I left and hadn't really given it my all, I was like, yeah, I'm going all right, but is there more I can give to, fulfill the dream of becoming All Black? And I remember being like, no, I'm just going to, I think I re-signed for another 2 years, and finished 2012 and played a pretty consistent level through, and then hadn't really set the world on fire or anything, but it just had kind of got a bit of consistency in my game that I guess I was lacking. And then to that year in the off season, instead of going away, I bought a house in Wellington and needed a bit of work on the outside, so I just stayed home and didn't really have a holiday, and had a couple of builders that were living with me, so they helped me build a deck in the back of the house, and just trained and thought I'll just, I can crack on in 2013 and really push for it. And I guess I was lucky. I think Ali Williams had retired from professional rugby, I think. And it had played reasonably well again, consistency. And I think Sam Whitelock broke his thumb when they picked the June team. So he was out for a couple of weeks. And I remember who'd we play? We played the Brumbies over there. And then after the game, we got told in the change rooms, I think, that who had been named in the All Blacks. And I'd obviously got in as a Drew replacement for Sam Whitelock. And it was just it kind of all hit me, to be fair. It'd been a fair while. I remember in 2008, same as when you asked if I'd thought there was any pressure on me to do anything after the award and when I was a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
I remember halfway through the 2008 Super Rugby season thinking, I was going all right. And I was thinking, oh, yeah, that's right. They kind of pick an All Black team from playing, obviously just and, I was just enjoying playing footy. And I think for a while there after that 2008 year, I probably maybe put too much on trying to find that form again or find that to be selected. And in 2013, I just thought, I'm just going to give it a good old shot and a good crack, and really just enjoyed it again and just had a bit more fun. I was always a pretty intense guy, that at training and stuff, but I was just enjoying it and I just had a fair bit of fun with it. And I think obviously that is a big part of me playing well, is just making sure I try to have a bit more balance and enjoy just playing the game instead of being a bit anxious about everything that could go wrong or why someone else is going better or something like that, and just focused on myself, and it seemed to pay off, which was great.
How was your lead up to the debut against France?
Good. I had a bit of a test run the week before. I was on the bench at Eden Park, and I actually feel pretty. My brother flew over from Melbourne for the game. Obviously, my mum and dad were there, and my sister was there. So here it happens again. Didn't get on, but to be fair, I was pretty bloody nervous the whole game.
Where?
It was probably, and obviously the AB coaches can pick up on probably things like that. And I didn't get on that game, and it was actually pretty close for a little bit. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, I hope we actually like push on here and I can get on, because if I have to go on when it's close to the debut and I'm sitting here like had like the lineouts written on my list, like on my wrist, and I hadn't done that ever before in my life, and I was just like, shit.
Anxiety
And,
through the roof.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pretty disappointed, but I was like, in the end, I was to be fair, like I probably would have, like I wouldn't have, it would have been fine, but like I probably wasn't ready, and then went down to Christchurch and obviously got picked on the bench again, and we kind of got out to a reasonably good lead there and got 15, I think, minutes off the bench there, and it was unreal. I remember just before I went on, like kind of just like was pretty nervous again, but someone said something, I don't know, on the bench, and kind of had a smile. I was like, like there's no point, like you're here now, like just crack in, and just ran round again. Like I felt like I was 21, just trying to hit everything and try and do as much as possible in 12 minutes. Probably did nothing again, but it felt like I was doing something, so it felt pretty good afterwards. Yeah.
Did your mum and dad go down to that one?
They did. Classic stitch up. That was the first time they actually met Lucci, my wife, or was my girlfriend back then. I asked her to come down, and she was like, "Oh, who am I sitting with?" And I was like, "Oh, you're actually sitting with my mum and dad, because that's the only tickets I could get next to them." She's like, "Oh, cool, like great." So I think Mum talked to her most of the time and didn't really watch much of the rugby. I think she was more excited that I had a girlfriend instead of playing my first test match. So it was a win-win for Mum, I think. So she was pretty happy.
Oh, that's good stuff. And then any highlights throughout your All Black career that stand out to you?
Definitely getting to play the Springboks in Wellington at Westpac was unreal. Got to start that game. My first start down in Dunedin, we obviously had retained the Bleeders though. It was the fourth game. Got to start that one and got maybe 50 odd minutes, which was pretty cool. And then Scotland, obviously. I didn't get a lot of starts. We had probably two of the best locks going around with Sam and Brody, and then some decent backups with Luke Romano and some of those boys as well, that obviously, like we're all fighting for some time whenever I was in the squad. But playing Scotland over there was pretty unreal. Just the way they do things in the UK with test matches was pretty cool. They turned all the lights off before the game, and the bagpipes playing, and and then they'd obviously sing the anthems and the songs going through it was pretty awesome. But just the whole experience, like the whole time I was there, like after that first sort of June series in the first one, came back and obviously was pretty nervous, and it'd been a long time to get into that team, and you kind of walking around and don't want to make a mistake, and you probably end up not really enjoying it as much as you want to, because you're so worried about stuffing up or whatever. I came back and just remember thinking, if I get another chance, I'm just going to go in and obviously be a bit more myself and enjoy myself and not worry about fucking things up all the time, and just get on with it. And that was it, to be fair. There was just so many cool experiences that you get when you're with that squad, from the things that they do as a team together to what you can experience when you travel, the doors that it opens and people and things you meet. It's just pretty cool.
And was the goal always to make the 2015 World Cup squad? Was that the way you wanted to finish your career in New Zealand?
Yeah, I guess it kind of ended up being like that. We played Scotland over there. I played pretty well that game. And then we played one more game after that. Ireland, I think, and didn't get picked for that one. But and then it was like, well, I've played pretty well here. Like I've done pretty well when I've had my opportunities, especially in 2014. So I was like, go into 15 and crack on, and hopefully with a bit of luck, I can make that team. Like I never felt like my place was ever like sealed or anything like that. But I was like, if I work hard and play well again and do that, then hopefully I can have a chance of going away on the World Cup. I reckon I probably put a little bit too much pressure on myself in that 2015 year with worrying about things again a little bit. I remember getting a call halfway through the season from Gilbert Anoka, who's the mental skills guy and does a lot of work with all the boys around everything in the squad, and Chrono, the forwards coach, and I just could kind of see that I looked like I was too much in my head a little bit. Didn't play as well probably as I wanted to. And then, obviously still got picked in the championship team, but only got, I think, 10, 15 minutes against Argentina before they named the World Cup team after that. And they only took 3 locks in the end, which was a little bit disappointing. But then, who knows? They obviously said that, I was in there, but with a chance if someone fell over. But, Brody had just been playing unreal that year for us as the Canes and got a chance to get his debut in Africa with the ABs. And he was, playing out of his skin. And I think Patrick might have had an operation, so that knocked him out. But there was other locks there that were still playing really well. So I don't see it was I'm not gutted or upset that I didn't get picked. I can understand what they did and how they went about it. And as I said, you can never take the ABs for granted. And I was grateful for the opportunities that I did get within the team in 13, 14 and that final test and being involved in the squad before the World Cup in 2015. So that was awesome.
And was that a big part of why you moved to Gloucester in the end, just because you felt like you'd sort of reached as high as you could? You didn't see any more tests sort of coming on the horizon?
I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think obviously I was 30. Obviously they had, like Sam and Brody who were younger than me that were still going really well. There was guys coming through and I just thought, it's a good opportunity. There's some rule with being able to play overseas or sign a contract after 12 months after your last test start or something. I think some rule. So the timing kind of worked out quite well with that. So I was like, well, if I get to sign another year or two and don't play for the ABs again, it might make it harder to get that opportunity to head overseas and experience something different. So it kind of all just, I felt at the time, fell into place a little bit for a good way to finish with the Hurricanes, and they were the ABs.
And then talk to me about your time over in Gloucester. How did you find it? You were 4 years over there. You love it?
I did. I found it very, very tough in the first 6 months. I don't know if it was because I went Super Rugby, a little bit ABs, ITM, straight into a what is it? Feels like 18-month competition, but what is it? 10 months of rugby in the UK. So by the end of that season, I was pretty cooked. We didn't go very well. We went terrible, but not as well as we wanted to. And I didn't feel like I had adapted as well as I possibly could have to the way that they play. I was probably reasonably naive in how much different the game can be from a tactical point of view and what they really put a focus on compared to New Zealand and especially the Hurricanes, because even if our set piece was going too well, we had backs and loose forwards that could do unreal things and we could still be up by 30 points and be at 25% possession in territory. So there was a lot of times I was like, obviously got a little bit frustrated with the way the boys saw the game and the way we played it. But got over that and kind of adapted and realised it's just the way it is and the way they play and actually after that first 6 months, I loved it. We still didn't go very well, but I loved being over the UK. I loved playing at Gloucester at Kingsholm. I just love the atmosphere of games. The intensity is up there. It's a different type of intensity to Super Rugby from probably a speed point of view, but from a contact and how close a lot of games are, that kind of intensity and what the crowd brings to the games, I think is unreal and was awesome. And learn a hell of a lot firstly about, I guess, myself and obviously being within the Wellington and the Hurricanes environment for 10 years and plus with Wellington a bit longer, going somewhere completely different and being that different person over there was unreal. And then just from a rugby point of view, just how important, I guess, different things are to different people from where you are in the world, and how to win games was pretty cool. It's probably the most I took out of it.
What was the biggest shift for a lock going from Super Rugby to the English Premiership?
I guess for me, I'm more of like a support, can distribute sort of a lock. I guess I'm not a big bulldozer tractor as they have over in the UK.
Yeah.
So, I always thought I obviously play to your strengths. So I had to learn to, there wasn't as much opportunities for the support players sort of part of the game. It was more really now your set piece, your scrum, your line out, fair few hard carries. I always thought I wasn't really doing too much in a lot of games because I wasn't getting my hands on the ball from a phase play point of view. And
yeah,
I was thinking, just like, they've obviously signed me here to do things, but I'm not doing what I naturally like to do in a game. Like, it was a bit different. So I guess that was a big part of it. And then we'd get the ball kicked back to us, like off a box kick or whatever, and I'd be looking at a fullback thinking, here we go. Like, we used to have, you'd have Andre Taylor near him on a scudder, or CJ or someone like that at the back, Jimmy, you, and you'd step two guys and we'd be back on the 50, and they'd either kick it back and you'd think, oh shit, here we go. And
bloody Tom Marshall.
When he was playing.
That's true. He only played about once in 4 years.
But hell, fuck, they were good games when he played, I tell you what. So from that point of view, like, fullbacks probably normally got tackled on their own 22 with the ball in hand, sort of thing. So it was a lot of backtracking to set up for another box kick to get rid of it. So it was, from that point of view, it was just a whole different mindset that I had to get around. And once I kind of figured it out and knew that I'm still contributing to the team, probably not the way I wanted to with the way I naturally play the game, but if I can get our set piece going all right and pick up a few carries and chase balls and make some tackles, then, you're actually doing an all right job for your team, sort of thing. So, yeah. You
obviously had some good times off the field too over there. Lots of good stories over there. I got told one from my brother around, I think it was the end of season 2, where you went and bought one of the biggest burgers you could ever buy, and you actually threw it on top of, slammed it on Mark Atkinson's head, and he was filthy. He reckons it was the funniest thing he's ever seen. Yeah. Talk me through that one.
Oh, yeah. So it was funny because, like, you look back on when we were there, and we never did, or when I was there, we never did that well in the English Premiership, but there was the 2 European competitions, and 2 out of 3 years we were there, we made the final. Obviously, lost both of them, but Mum and Dad never came to those ones, so that throws that bloody idea out the window. So it couldn't have been Mum and Dad's fault we lost the 2015 final. But we both of them, it was a hell of a shindig afterwards. So what was the first year? Edinburgh, and then we went all night after that game, and then had a private flight home. It was like me, Tojo, your brother, James Hook, Aki and stuff. Obviously bought duty free and snuck it onto the back of the plane and was asking for lemonades and having vodkas and stuff. And Hooky, absolute lad. You need to get him on. You won't understand a word he's saying, but you need to get him on the podcast. He's a great man. And we were singing songs and everything, and we just kept kicking on and ended up at one of the boys' restaurants out in Gloucester Keys. And I was so drunk by then, I thought that we were the only ones in the place. I didn't realise there was families and stuff on the other side having lunch, and ended up being dinner and stuff. And yeah, they brought out all these burgers, and I don't really remember it too much. I just remember pick up the tray, and we're by the bar by the end of it. And I was just like, saw Racky, and I was just like, this would be great. There's no better person to be able to throw this burger at, and just went woof, and like piffed it from the tray. Yeah, he must have ducked or something, and boys are just almost hit like a family having a dinner at a table by the bar, and they were just like, it's just in a whole nother world. It was probably one of the drunkest I've ever been. So
And that's saying something.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the fare the next 3 days after that.
That's when you brought the puppy.
Pretty big. Oh no, that was a couple of years. That was mid-season as well. So we've definitely had a fair few good blowouts along the way, which is great.
You had to over there, because the season was so long. You couldn't just wait till the end of season 2. You had to break it up a wee bit.
Definitely. But that was great. Like, I guess one of the big things of being overseas, like I grew up in Wellington, so I was always there and had friends outside of rugby. So, obviously enjoyed doing the things with the Canes boys, but had that, great group of friends from school, lads that you could just get away and kind of be a bit normal with. But over there, like, the rugby teams are your friends and family, and got really close, or still are very close with your brother and Beth and stuff, and Matt Scott, Scottish boy, and his wife Ruth. So we had like a really good little crew that was most weekends ended up at our house after games, celebrate another weekend through the footy, and fair few house parties and nights out in Cheltenham, so it was pretty good. We had a hell of a lot of fun. Yeah,
good times. So then, what brought upon the move to Western Force?
So Johan Ackerman took over the Gloucester team in my final year, and he obviously brought in a fair few Safa boys, which was fair enough. He gave me early enough warning that was going to be the plan and what he was about to do, and I really enjoyed working with him. I thought he was a great coach, and was really about getting the team cohesion really, really good and strong off the field, and kind of, I thought he did it reasonably well. Like a lot of players or coaches can come over from the southern hemisphere and try to just dump everything that you do in Super Rugby into the northern hemisphere game, and it doesn't really work that well. But he picked little things here and there that they did really well with the Lions, that we tried to bring in, and it kind of showed that it worked the year after I left, because they made the semi-final. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, obviously he told me that they're going to sign a couple of Africans, so I was kind of on a hunt for a new contract somewhere, and had a little bit of stuff in France. But yeah, the Force was, they kind of kept knocking on the door and kept asking my agent if I was keen and if I was wanting to come across. And I guess one of the big things after being in the UK was we kind of wanted a bit more of a lifestyle, a bit better weather or experience something a little bit different. So that was a big thing. One of the boxes that we wanted ticked. Kind of wanted somewhere that was really keen to have me. I guess the French teams were sort of like, want you to come. So from the lifestyle point of view, the France teams ticked that box. But from really wanting to be able to make a difference and help out somewhere, it didn't feel that great. So I decided, why not? Like good weather in Perth. Was pretty excited about what they were trying to do. I was obviously, what am I now? Almost 35.
35, yeah.
So yeah, it was 2 years ago. So I was 30, going on 33. So obviously the style of rugby and what they were trying to do probably suited my body a bit more than staying up in the northern hemisphere. So we just thought, why not? And it's, to be fair, it's been great. We've loved every minute of being in Perth. It's been an awesome place to live over the last 3 years. So yeah.
And you've, like we said at the start, you've made an instant impression over there. One thing I want to talk to you about or ask you about is over there, the song Adele. Talk to me about the Adele team song that you sing so well.
Honestly, I was getting messages from all over the place about that. I was like, what's going on here? And then it must have been a really slow day in New Zealand for news or something, because someone said it made the top 5 stories on Stuff or so. And I was like, jeepers, like, I never got that far up when I was back home. It didn't matter what I'd done. So obviously it was a slow day in New Zealand news. But
people love you.
No, Marcel, yeah. It's a moustache. It's changed my life. Marcel, our song, like every team has a song, sort of guy that leads the song after a game, and we've got a bit that's about the Western Force at the start, and then he was like, "We're going to change it up this year, and we're going to play a bit of a banger or a song that everyone knows and can sing along to afterwards, and it'll just be a little bit of the start of it, and then obviously the chorus, and like we'll finish it there." So could have been 10 odd games since the Western Force had got a win over in Sydney, and we were all pretty pumped, and no one realised the camera was still on in the change room, and it honestly only caught the Adele bit, so it's got all the boys getting pretty deep into that. So I was going pretty hard and facing the camera, so obviously, got a little bit of media attention from there. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty funny because no one was really sure how it was going to go. Like someone like you, like, everyone knows it, but like it's a bit of a weird song to sing after the game, but. The boys got stuck in, and it was pretty cool. Actually, it's pretty funny.
But you've got such a nice voice too. You could hear your voice in the recording. Any chance of giving us a little teaser
of the Adele song? You want the Adele? How's it go?
Oh, come on! I know you know it.
How's it go again? Yeah, no. Brain freeze here. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you. Don't forget me, I remember you say. Sometimes it lasts in love, sometimes it something. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Jeez, for a moment there, I thought that was Adele. That was so good. So if that doesn't make stuff, I'll be disappointed. That was quality. What a voice.
Oh, mate. What have you been? Top 5 podcasts or something in New Zealand. I've definitely dropped you down with this one, I think.
I might be top
Sorry, Jimmy.
song. That was so good. What a voice. Have you always been a gifted singer?
Definitely. It's a hidden talent.
Oh, I love that. Anyway, what are the plans next? Is singing part of it? What's the plans for Big Thrushy?
The singing is hopefully, I'm still keen to kick on. At the moment, my contract was only with the Force till the end of June, or until the end of Trans-Tasman. Hopefully, we can play some of those games. It'd be good to get home and play some New Zealand teams and get some across. But yeah, I actually forgot how old I was the other day. I was driving home. Me and Thrushy were having a laugh about it the other day because he's the same age. And I was in the car and I was like, 30, 34, going on 35, and then realised, no, I'm 35, going on 36, and I was like, geez, I must be getting older if I can't remember how old I am. But would love to keep playing. I reckon I could go another 12 months. Hopefully, yeah. So I'd like to go do something at the end of this. If hopefully the Force re-sign me for next year or pick something up. And I spoke to you, Jimmy. I'll be keen to get back and play some ITM Cup if I could. I think that would be pretty cool just to have one last little stint in New Zealand if someone was crazy enough to sign me for whatever it is, 3 months.
The Tasman Marco. You'd be a great fit. You'd be a great fit.
I've listened to some of the Tassie boys that you've had on here. I'm not sure I'll be able to keep up with them, to be fair. They sound like good lads. It might be the end of me if I came to the Marco.
Well, the anxiety. You have 10 puppies.
Quickly. The amount of dog food I'll be forking out for would be unreal. But yeah, I'd love to do that if it came about. Play another year of Super or something, and then just see how I go. But I guess since leaving and being at Gloucester and being here, I've really enjoyed like the mentor side of things with some of the young guys we've had here who haven't ever been involved in a professional setup, and just enjoying that sort of thing. So I'd love to get into some sort of coaching with a start with forwards. If it was an academy or something like that along those lines, or get over somewhere, that's starting up a program somewhere and jump on that would be a lot of fun, and I'd really enjoy that, because I enjoy that now while I'm still playing, trying to help out some of the younger guys. I guess once I kind of left New Zealand, I had more time and didn't have to be. I just felt like I was pretty intense and focused really hard on what I had to do to be the best I could, and probably didn't give enough back to some boys back home, which I probably regret a little bit. And since I've left and been over here as well, I feel like I've really tried to give a bit more back to them and experiences that I've learned along the way, and try to help out that way. So definitely be keen to get into staying in rugby and help out in some involvement with coaching at some level.
Mate, you would be such a good mentor, coach, whatever you decide to choose. You will be one of the greats. But anyway, let's crack on, because we have so many questions, and as always, we've gone to our Instagram for some questions, and Thrushy, the cult hero over in the force, has come up with thousands. We won't be able to ask them all, but
how many abusive ones are there? There must be a fair few abusive ones from back home.
There's a couple. Okay. First one. Oh, this one's from Patrick Gower. Obviously a massive fan of yours. Love your work rate.
Gower.
How do you motivate yourself to consistently be in the zone?
Cool. I don't know. I've probably only been there once or twice in my life. So. I don't know. Yeah, I think I touched on it, a bit serious here, but I focus really hard on getting the week right for me personally. If I can get that right, I take away that nervousness and anxiety on game day that used to take a fair bit out of me, energy wise and performance wise. So yeah, that. And then lately, especially last maybe 3 or 4 years, I used to think like, oh, what's going to happen 65 minutes in? And now I'm like, fuck, I might not even be on the field in 65 minutes. So might as well just enjoy the first 5 and see how we go from there. So, taking away that kind of like what I thought of things in the future definitely helps.
Overthinking.
Yeah, get me there.
True.
Yeah.
Cool.
Overthinking is a big problem for me.
Who was the best line-out operator you came up against?
Victor Matfield, definitely up there with the Bulls. They had an unreal operation, maul and everything. Kieran Reid, Sam Whitelock are bloody pretty smart people when it comes to that. In the UK, most lineouts are pretty well worked. Exeter always had a pretty good one. Saracen, so I guess that's George Cruz, Hitoji, boys like that, probably pretty up there with that sort of thing as well. So, off the top of my head.
Some great line-out forwards. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Ask him how much he got paid when he made the Burger Ring mini ad.
Who gave you that one?
Sweens.
Small mouth. Sweens, small mouth, big chin.
I had to Google it. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Have you not seen it?
I did. I saw it yesterday. But
back in the day, there was a small mouth burgering ad. Was you get the burgers in? Yeah. So there was a few boys that used to give me a fair bit of shit back then about that. But I get a fair bit of shit anyway. It still goes. So.
Your mo sort of covers your mouth now.
I know. Oh, yeah. The big mo helps us, probably accentuates the small mouth even more, but helps with the big chin maybe, who knows.
Okay. Did you ever get this, speaking of being teased, did you ever get teased at school because of your surname?
Yes. Not more just like comments from girls, so it really didn't help with my, well, I wouldn't say love life, but being able to talk to girls. They would always be like, oh, who are you? Like Jeremy. I was Jeremy. Like, I don't know why I'd always say my last name, but for some reason sometimes I'd, oh no, it's because my mates obviously called me Thrushy, and they'll be like, what? Like, the girls would be like, what? And I'll be like, oh yeah, my last name's Thrush, and I'll be like, oh, like, ooh. But I had an older sister, and I never really thought about it too much until then, and then like you're like, wow, shit, she must have had it pretty bad if I was getting a little bit of it. So I feel pretty sorry for my sister, but obviously she's she's married into a new name now, so doesn't have any of that trouble.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel sorry for my daughter. Poor little girl. So her name's Mia Bella, which in Italian is my beautiful, and then her last name's Thrush. So that's not the best thing. Poor little girl, but hopefully she's got her mum's looks. So, and not too much of her dad, except for her last name. But she'll be all right. It's funny. I never thought about it until a little while ago.
True.
My dad always used to talk. I never picked up on it, but Dad always used to, when he answered the phone or talked to people and had to give his full name, he'd be like, Ian Thrush, and he'd always be like the bird. And I never when I was younger, I was like, why does he always say that? And then obviously as I got older and found out it had a different meaning, I was like, fair enough, Dad, it makes a lot of sense.
Speaking about Lucci, you've been nominated in the New Zealand Rugby list as the biggest puncher in World Rugby.
batting outside the crease, is it? Yeah.
Oh, how did you guys meet? How did you fall in love?
Well, we actually had known each other for a little while, or like knew, and had friends that were sort of friends and crossed over a little bit. But she was obviously, she lived out in Eastbourne at a young age as well, but obviously we didn't really know each other that well then. And then one year, 2013, we're out one night and got together and had some drinks and stuff with a few other friends, and Red Square obviously ended up hooking up, and the rest is history. So
Jeez.
yeah, I count myself pretty lucky there, to be fair. Obviously she must have been pretty drunk, but she doesn't know, but I just keep putting vodka in her water as it is now, so she just stays that way and keeps finding me attractive. So it's worked out so far pretty well.
Don't ever sober up.
There, Jimmy.
Oh, that's classic. Okay. What is the key to a good handlebar moustache?
Oh, probably a lot of surface area. So big jaw. Where I've really had trouble is still in there a little bit, still a little bit too blonde, falls out. But I did shave it into a goatee this year. Actually, I let it grow out a little bit. And it looked quite good. But I quite enjoy the handlebars. It's something a bit different. But I don't know. Yeah, I guess I've always been able to grow a reasonably good beard. So yeah, a little bit of facial area to grow it, and a dark. I think you need dark hair for a good handlebars.
Yeah, whatever you've done.
You could probably get one going there, Jimmy.
No, mine's way too patchy and it gets too itchy once I get past stubble. Yours is impressive. Holy heck. I love it.
Thinking for the end of your do, shave in a bald patch and growing the mullet out and dyeing it blonde, all of it blonde, and going as the muscle man, Hulk Hogan. See how that goes down. I thought that'd be pretty good.
Oh, that would go down a treat.
It'd be good till I woke up the next day with a hell of a lot of fear, I reckon, but it'll be all right, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, this is one thing I didn't actually know about you, but you're obviously an R&V legend, because there's been a lot of questions about your R&V times. How many times did you go, and what was your craziest story from R&V?
5 times, I think I ended up going.
Oh.
Always good times. Last time I really know I would have been a little bit older, I think. I felt a little bit too old by the time I left, but just drunk myself into feeling younger again, so it was pretty good. Fair few crazy stories that probably might have to wait till I finish playing, I think. I might get myself in a bit of trouble, so can't elaborate too much there at this stage, unfortunately.
Oh, I can't wait for the sequel.
A few good times on the hill, on the main stand.
Oh, I bet.
Got myself in a bit of strife, so yeah.
Okay, we'll leave that one there. Have you ever been to Hong Kong? Any good yarns?
Yep, went with a friend to visit another friend. Had a fair few good nights out there. Very interesting nightlife. Bit different to the Courtney Place Wellington scene, I can say. We went and visited a friend, and short story was he told us like 5 things not to do, and we woke up in the morning and had done the opposite of all 5 of those things. So
You'd tick them off.
yeah, there was a fair bit of fear. There was a fair bit of fear going that day as well. Yeah. Something happens when you start drinking. It's just not the right thing to do. I don't know.
Oh, so much fear. Okay. This one's from good mate of yours, Tom Savage. Did you ever get your deposit back from Lansdowne Lodge, and is the grass still green?
I did. We did get our bond back, our deposit back. We had a big driveway when we lived in Gloucester and Cheltenham. And stupidly enough, told the boys to all come back on the Sunday break up because we were at this pub in Cheltenham and it was getting fairly rowdy. And I still had a little bit of common sense left in me to think, if we stay here, we could be in a little bit of trouble. So said we could all come back to our place and just drink on the driveway. Probably not the best idea in the end. Willie Hines' barbecue got set on fire, pretty biggy, like a Weber coal one. Furniture started getting burnt. 2 couches ended up over the fence at a doctor's practice, and I woke up like, I don't know how I woke up, but I woke up stark, like upright at like 6 a.m. and was like to Luke, she like, shit. And she's like, what? And I was like, the couches are next door. We got to go get them, and like ran down the driveway and had to lug these couches back down the driveway. So yeah, it was a pretty good night, afternoon. But yeah, we still had like fire stains on the driveway from the boys getting up to no good. Joe Ladder, another Kiwi lad, some of the boys will probably know, put the lawnmower on in the garage and started lawnmowering glass bottles. So we had to pick up a fair bit of glass. I think that's when Lucci called it, actually. She came out and saw the fire and the lawnmower going with glass bottles being shred everywhere, and came up to me and was like, no, I think you guys need to go. And I was like, yeah, I think we need to go. So I think after that we ended up heading off and going into town, which is probably not a good idea either, but it was all right.
That is loose.
Any complaints?
that is very, very loose.
Grass is green. Oh, the grass is green. So must have been the second year we lost. We were up by like 20 odd points and we ended up losing in the last minute. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, I don't think we're mentally that strong as a team. So I thought I'd incite the boys on a bit of things I'd learnt from times at the Hurricanes and the ABs about mental toughness. And I was like, one thing I always tell myself, like telling the boys, and they must be thinking, who is this fucking idiot like standing up here? It's like, you just state a fact to get yourself out of that bad time. So I was like the grass is green, and it takes your mind out of that negative spiral thought. And the boys just like every training, like I'd lose my shit or something, and they'd be like, the grass is green. Gee, the grass is green. I'd just be like, oh, fuck's sake. You idiot. Why'd you stand up and talk?
Oh, I love those things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like the English is so much, I found that the English have such good banter compared to what we had at the Canes. Like, you just, no one is safe or nothing is off limits.
Constant, eh?
It was pretty funny. It was a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't stop.
Okay.
It was good.
This one, how much do you love Usain Bolt?
What was it? 300 pounds. That's how much I love him. 300 pounds worth.
What's that story about?
Another drinking story. So last year at Gloucester, all the injured boys, I think the team went to Exeter to play, and we had I don't know, 125 years or something, and it was like a dinner, auction dinner, raising money, and all the injured boys went, and obviously shock. Tojo, your brother, was injured again, and so was I. So we went, and it was like black tie event, and we had this table, and we're a few deep with the other boys. And I was like, all right, everyone has to like bid on something. So like you have to bid on it, and like I was like, trick is to get in early and it was this, I don't even know if it was his, but it was a signed picture of Usain Bolt. And like, I wasn't really listening. I think someone had bidded like something, and then I was like, I got to get in. Like, put my hand up, and they're like 300 to Jeremy, and I was like, holy shit, like that's a fair bit of money. And no one else bid it, and they were like, gone, like £300 to Jeremy. I was like, fucking hell. I had to like write my name down and like my number, so they had to call me to pay for it. Went away with a signed picture of Usain Bolt. That probably wasn't worth anything. One of the boys, Ollie Thorley's got it. I gave it to him in Gloucester. I think he's got it now. It was a leaving gift for him.
Just brought back bad memories.
Oh yeah. It just sat in the garage for like 6 months, just like thinking. Leslie Vinocola turned up to that dinner, and he's a Gloucester legend. And I was like the volcano. Like, obviously knew him playing for like the Kiwis in league, and like me and Tojo ended up going out with him, and like he hasn't been in Cheltenham for years, and like all the pubs and clubs like would just give him a bottle of vodka over the bar and be like, there you go, mate, like
True.
Feel free. Tojo took me home. I still have no idea what happened in town with the volcano, and it's still one of the best nights of my life, drinking with Leslie the Vinocola.
Oh, what a legend, what a lad.
My tux was in a mess. Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, gee, some good yarns. Okay. Hut, high or stream? This one's from Blair Cowan. Good water lad. Man.
Hutt Valley High School, of course. That was like a claim to fame. Hutt High beat Silverstream 2 times that year, which hasn't happened. It never happened in years. So I'm pretty sure Rara cried on the field after the game at Silverstream as well.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm just making that up. But don't edit that out. Yeah. Keep it in there.
Okay. Last question. What was the best piece of advice that Jeremy Thrush received throughout his career? Don't say the grass is green.
The grass is green. The grass is green. I don't know. I don't know if there's heaps. You know what I mean? You get little things every now and again or every year that help. But I think looking back now, like if I was going to tell a young Jeremy Thrush what to be better at, it'd probably be like, especially in New Zealand, like don't be so highly strung within everything. Like just balance. Like I look back now and there's so many cool times and awesome things that like within the Canes or Wellington or whatever, but like I probably didn't embrace them or enjoy them as well as I could have, because obviously I had goals and was so worried about trying to make teams or achieve those goals that I probably didn't really enjoy myself as much as I probably could have from enjoying those moments within team environments as much. I feel like I'm at a better place with that now. Since I left New Zealand, I don't know if it was just because I put a lot of expectation on myself, like within the Hurricanes and the Lions to obviously try to win something with those teams or not. But yeah, that's probably the thing if I could go back in time and tell the young Jerry to just probably enjoy yourself a bit more.
Yeah, how would you do that?
I don't know. You know what it's like. Like New Zealand's such like a fishbowl kind of place when it comes to rugby. Like you play badly and you go out the next day for lunch or something, and obviously everyone knows obviously kind of who you are, and you guys didn't play that well, and you're looking at them, and I used to think like shit, he's thinking like they were shit yesterday. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, and like I just kind of I didn't even really worry. I didn't really have social media that much, like so that didn't really bother me. It was more like just what I came into with the Lions and the Hurricanes and where we got to and where I wanted us to get to. That I put a lot of pressure, I guess, on myself and wanting things to be good and better than when I first came into the team. And I don't know, maybe I got away from enjoying it as much as I probably could have from that point of view. And I don't know, like it's just once I left and got to Gloucester, I obviously didn't have those expectations as much on I could just play club rugby for the team
Yeah.
that you're playing for. Like there's no other things there, like other high honours or that that other goal. It was just go out there and play as well as you could for Gloucester and enjoy it and move on to the next week, sort of thing. I probably should have, if I could have, had that more as a Hurricane and as a Lion, because as I said, it probably helped me play better when I just tried to not worry about trying to be an All Black again or be an All Black or anything like that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. You are going to be such a good mentor. Oh, can't wait to see you in the mentor game. That's such good advice for a young lot coming through. Just relax. Don't overthink
Poor
it.
Kids.
But that wraps up the podcast. Obviously, I love playing with you in my time with the Hurricanes, mate. You're an absolute champion bloke. Had some awesome times over in the UK with you as well. Obviously, you were very close with my brother, so we ended up having a few good do's together. And, mate, you're such a good lad. Looking forward to you joining up with the ITM Cup this year, hopefully with Tasman, and looking forward to you running around back in New Zealand. That would be awesome to see at the ripe old age of 36 and still going strong. But what a career, what a journey, and what a lad. Really appreciate you giving up your time and coming on the Water Lad podcast.
Cheers, Jimmy. It's been awesome. Hopefully I haven't rambled on too much for you, mate, and you can get something good out of it.
Oh, mate, so much quality in that. Appreciate it.
No worries. Good to see you.